Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Tonight, the blistering heat wave continues, and it's not only people who are at risk in these dangerous temperatures. Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst has what all pet owners should consider.
Good evening, and as I reported yesterday, staying hydrated and limiting exposure to the heat are good ways to prevent heat-related illnesses. Those rules can also apply when it comes to your pets. With temperatures soaring throughout the country, the ASPCA is encouraging pet owners to take extra precaution. Hot asphalt can cause dogs to heat up quickly as well as burn their paw pads. So residents are asked to walk their dogs earlier in the day when the temperature is lower. Pets that have flat faces can't pant to cool down as effectively and should be kept inside with air conditioning as much as possible. This also applies to pets that are elderly or overweight. Owners should also provide plenty of fresh water for their pets. Finally, pets should never be kept alone in parked cars. Doing that can not only cause pets to die from heat stroke, it's also illegal in the state of New York. The ASPCA has more summer safety tips on its website. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The record-breaking heat causing dozens of sudden deaths in British Columbia, Canada. Police in Vancouver say the heat could be to blame for a spike in recent deaths within the past few days. Recently, authorities reported 25 sudden death calls in just 24 hours. The heat is allegedly hitting the elderly and at-risk people the hardest, and for parts of Canada, the end is not in sight. Experts say parts of Western Canada should start seeing a cool down today, but relief for landlocked areas could be days away. New York mayoral candidate Eric Adams says on Twitter, a Board of Elections error is unfortunate, but he praises that group's transparency. The board is recounting votes after accidentally including about 135,000 test ballots Tuesday night. That caused Brooklyn Borough President Adams to lose most of his lead in the first batch of results. The mistake incorrectly put former Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia just 2 points behind him. New York City is using a ranked choice system for the first time in its Democratic mayoral primary. Voters went to the polls last week. The Elections Board apologizes and says it will verify the final results. The Statue of Liberty will have company for the 4th of July. Lady Liberty's replica, or Little Sister as some call it, arrived in New York City today aboard the CMA CGM Nerval ship. The replica, which weighs 1,000 pounds and stands 9 feet tall, is based on the original plaster cast of its big sister on Ellis Island. The Lady Liberty replica is a gift from France and left France on June 23rd. The replica will be displayed on Ellis Island for the 4th of July weekend before heading off to Washington, D.C. for Bastille Day on July 14th. The Chemung County Senior Games are returning next month. This is the first time the Senior Games have been held since May of 2019. Some of the scheduled games include bowling, cornhole, golf, and shuffleboard. The Chemung Department of Aging says they've been fielding calls from eager participants since the announcement.
I've been receiving calls and from people saying, oh, I heard we're having senior games. When are we doing it? You know, can I give me an application? Everybody really wants to see each other again. They want to get out. They want to do the competition. And it's a good time. They all enjoy themselves when they're doing this.
Residents ages 50 and older can find applications on the Chemung County website. The games run from August 3rd through the 28th. New York prosecutors are making a big case. Opening statements began Tuesday in the jury trial against several drug manufacturers and distributors accused of fueling the opioid crisis. Sherry Einhorn reports.
I don't get to see Thomas age 22. I don't get to see him get married. I don't get to see any of those achievements that he would have had.
Thomas Ventura was 21 years old the day he died of a heroin overdose, but Mom Linda says he was addicted to pills long before that. Powerful pain pills that she says were too easy to get and too addictive. She and others who have lost loved ones are now closely watching a historic drug trial underway in Suffolk County. Suffolk, Nassau, and New York State are suing drug manufacturers and distributors for their part in creating and fueling the deadly opioid epidemic that has ravaged so many local communities.
They sold and marketed addictive, dangerous drugs as a cure-all for everything. So they need to be held accountable, It trumps anything else. They knew it, they willfully went ahead with it and continued to go ahead with it.
We're talking about drugs like OxyContin, hydrocodone, morphine, and fentanyl.
Prosecutors here are not mincing words, accusing the drug companies of death and destruction in exchange for blockbuster sales.
And these individuals need to be held accountable, these companies, these manufacturers and distributors who are really only concerned about one thing, and that is their bottom line.
The trial is happening here at Touro College to accommodate the crowd. There have been similar trials in California and West Virginia, but this one is a jury trial.
I obviously hope for a guilty verdict, but more importantly, I hope that we get some funds to do prevention with kids in schools, that we get some money to boost our treatment efforts, and that we get some money to help people who have found a path to recovery and keep them on that path and make the community a whole lot healthier.
Opening statements could last for several days, and the trial itself is expected to take 6 to 8 weeks.
Bill Cosby's conviction has been overturned by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court, and he will soon be a free man. This is file video of Cosby in handcuffs after his conviction in September of 2018. The actor-comedian was serving a state prison term of 3 to 10 years after a jury convicted him of drugging and molesting a Temple University employee at his suburban estate. Today, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned that conviction, finding an agreement with a previous prosecutor prevented him from being charged in the case. The state Supreme Court also ordered that he be discharged from custody. Caught on video, a U.S. Postal Service mail carrier attacked on the job. New York City police say the 57-year-old man was delivering mail in Brooklyn, New York on Monday when he was attacked by suspects on dirt bikes. Police say the mail carrier was punched several times in the face before the suspects took off. The victim was taken to the hospital to be treated for broken bones in his face. Anyone with information on who the suspects are or their whereabouts is asked to call police right away. Another day of digging and another day of clinging to hope. The search for survivors continues in Surfside, Florida today after part of a condo collapsed last week. 16 people have been found dead. 145 are still unaccounted for. But each day we are hearing more harrowing stories of survival. Britt Conway has 3 of those stories.
I thought I was in a nightmare.
For many, it was, and still is, after part of a condo building in Florida crashed to the ground.
It was just devastating, absolutely devastating.
I said, God help, God help.
I'm very lucky.
3 women, 3 survivors. Their homes turned to rubble, replaced with terrifying memories.
A big boom, and I was running to see where the sound come from.
I thought a thunderstorm was coming that night.
Sounds, strange. And I ran to my living room.
It was around 1:30 in the morning when it happened.
Something inside of me said, run, because this building will collapse.
I hear noise outside in my hallway and I see a family and they said, come with me now, the building is collapsing. And I also look straight ahead to an apartment. I knew the couple well, and I see a door open and I don't see an apartment.
I saw all the garage collapse. And I told my kids, run as fast as you can.
3 seconds separate the life to death. 3 seconds.
It's painful and scary because I see what really happened.
And as soon as you saw someone you knew, you just hugged and said, you survived.
But the likelihood of finding more survivors diminishes by the minute. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
While Americans are embracing this summer as a return to normal, health officials are warning the pandemic isn't over yet. Doctors are keeping a close eye on a new variant of the virus that is spreading rapidly in the United States. Christina Coleman has that story.
As vaccination rates go up, cities and states have been relaxing those COVID-related restrictions. But in LA County, they're now asking people to mask up for a little bit longer out of concern for the Delta variant, a new, more contagious strain of the virus.
If we can keep these on just for a little while to make sure everybody protected, why not?
The new mutation now accounts for more than 20% of all cases in the United States. It's expected to become the dominant strain in the near future. There is some good news. Lab studies show both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are nearly as effective against the Delta variant as they are against the original strain. The White House has set a goal to get 70% of the country vaccinated by July 4th. But right now, fewer than half of all Americans have gotten their shot. The First Lady has been on a public awareness campaign to sway those still on the fence, visiting states where many are still hesitant to get the vaccine.
I think 40% of all Texans are vaccinated. We care about the American people, but about their health. So that's why I'm here.
Though the White House will likely fall short of that July 4th goal, Dr. Fauci has said he thinks it's attainable by mid-July. The CDC says young people are among the groups right now with the lowest vaccination rates. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, an urgent reminder for parents who want to get their children ages 12 and up vaccinated before the start of school. Even though summer is in full swing, top U.S. health officials say parents need to be thinking about the school year now. More coming up in tonight's Health Minute.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. We did have a few hefty thunderstorms that moved through earlier today, and we still have the possibility of more rain as we head into the next few hours. So we do have some wet weather moving off to the east, and then a few more thunderstorms that will be heading into Hornell, Bath, and Corning around the midnight hour. It becomes a little bit more widespread, and with this there will be a few embedded thunderstorms that will bring some heavy rain, and this activity will continue through early tomorrow morning. Out ahead of our next cold front, it has been very warm and humid. Our dew points right now still in the 70s, but by tomorrow, those dew points will be dropping down into the 60s, possibly into the 50s by the end of the day on Thursday, once that cold front comes through. And we're going to stay in the 50s for dew points, so it is going to be a little bit more comfortable by the end of the week. We don't have to deal with that sticky air. On Thursday, again, that cold front will be pushing right over our area. Still a few lingering showers, possibly even a few thunderstorms during the day. So let's take a look at our future radar, where early tomorrow morning we're going to find a few thunderstorms across some of our hometowns as we start off the day. We're going to get a break from the rain late in the morning hours, but then a few more thunderstorms in the afternoon at around 6 o'clock from Corning, Elmira, Sire, and on the Pennsylvania side we're going to see a little bit more rain, and that starts to taper off early on Friday, or at least in the overnight on Friday, and then around 7 o'clock in the morning, a few more showers on Friday, and then a little bit more widespread rain during the day, and that's going to keep those temperatures quite low. How much rainfall are we talking about in the next few days? Well, from now through Saturday evening, we are expecting anywhere between about an inch up to the north in Geneseo to about 1.5 inches or close to that in Sayre. And so we're going to pick up a lot of rain in the next few days. Of course, in those low-lying areas, you may want to avoid those and bring the umbrella with you. As we head into the 4th of July weekend, a trough starts to dig to the south. It will allow for that cooler air to move southward as well, and so we're going to see a little bit closer to normal temperatures as we head into the weekend. Here's a look at your forecast. Tonight we drop down to around 65 degrees in Elmira, 66 degrees in Corning. Tomorrow look for highs about 10 degrees cooler than today, in the mid to upper 70s with off and on rain during the day, and some of those thunderstorms could bring some downpours as well. Moving into the 4th of July weekend, we're going to stay cool on Saturday, but then we warm up to around 82 degrees on the 4th of July. There still could be a few showers and thunderstorms. It looks like summer-like conditions will return by early next week with highs around 91 degrees on Tuesday. This comes ahead of another storm system that will arrive by the middle of the week.
An important reminder now for parents who want their children ages 12 and up to be vaccinated before they return to school. You will need to act quickly because it does take time to become fully vaccinated. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
Summer is in full swing, but top U.S. health officials say parents need to be thinking about the school year now.
My message is really clear. You should get your kids vaccinated.
Right now, the 2-dose Pfizer vaccine is the only one authorized by the FDA for children as young as 12. That means it would take 5 weeks from the first dose to be fully vaccinated, which puts us into August when some schools across the country begin to welcome students back. For parents who may be wavering on whether to get their 12 and older child vaccinated,
The safety profile on these vaccines are really quite extraordinary, and they're much, much safer than getting COVID.
since late May, the pace of vaccinations, especially among those 12 to 15, has drastically slowed, while the worrying Delta variant has now spread to almost every state, now accounting for 1 in 4 coronavirus cases nationwide, according to the latest CDC estimates, fueling concerns about potential case spikes in the fall. The Pfizer vaccine is shown to be 88% effective against symptomatic infections caused by COVID-19.
We've got to really ramp up our vaccinations, especially with Delta variant spreading much more widely across the country.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The mother of a Navy football prospect is dead after being shot at her hotel. She was in Annapolis to see her son off to the U.S. Naval Academy. Kai Reed reports.
Michelle Jordan Cummings and her husband were in town from Houston, staying at the Graduate Hotel in Annapolis and getting their son settled in at the Naval Academy when her life was taken in an instant.
So it turned out to be a celebratory occasion for the family, celebrating their son going into one of the best institutions in the United States turned into a tragic event.
Police say Cummings, her husband, and another couple were sitting on a patio at the hotel just before 12:30 Tuesday morning when she was hit by a stray bullet. They believe it came from a separate assault and shooting on nearby Pleasant Street.
She was vibrant, a mother, caring.
Verana Phillips knew Cummings well. Their sons went to prep school together and were excited to start their first year at the Naval Academy playing football together. She says Cummings was so proud of her son and his journey ahead at the academy.
She beamed. She was so excited about it, so happy that her baby was going to be a midshipman. I mean, and everybody that met her knew she radiated motherhood, happiness, just such a wonderful woman.
According to Chief Jackson, investigators are looking at cameras in the area and they have some leads, but he didn't give any details. He and Mayor Gavin Buckley say detectives are working on the case nonstop, 24 hours a day.
You come here with the expectation to see your son go on a journey, and in one of the most exciting times of his life, only to be met by a reckless shooter. So what I'll say to the shooter, turn yourself in. We're coming after you.
This city's heart is broken. Somebody has lost their mum on the most proudest day probably of her life. So there are no circumstances where this can be tolerated.
A video of a Missouri mother who brought her toddler to a job interview has gone viral. It's also highlighting the challenges that some parents have with childcare, especially during the pandemic. Gabriela Vidal reports.
Suited up and with resume in hand.
I knew people would relate to it. I just didn't quite know how many.
1-year-old Milo Munwiller joined his mother Maggie Munwiller on her job interview. The St. Louis County mother documented the whole journey on TikTok.
And now I think we're probably almost to 8 million views, which is absolutely insane and so awesome.
6 weeks after Milo was born, Munwiller says she was laid off from her job and has since struggled to juggle finding work during the pandemic and taking care of Milo.
A lot of people aren't able to pay for the child care if they're unemployed, even if there's one parent who is employed. You have so many other bills that you have to pay for.
So when Munwiller got a last-minute call to interview for a new job, she feared she couldn't make it work.
I was just honest and let them know that I wasn't able to have childcare, so I may need to schedule it for another time. So immediately their response was, "We're child friendly."
A January 2021 Pew Research study says about half of employed parents with children under 12 say child care responsibilities have been difficult to handle during the pandemic. Munwiller says this video sheds light on the struggles families like her have faced.
Hopefully employers all over will start listening to this conversation and read the comments
Comments all over her TikTok are now calling for more employers to normalize child-friendly offices or offering childcare access.
It's just such an important thing to continue this momentum to talk about it, hopefully do better as a country.
While the families of those still missing in the Florida condo collapse are experiencing unimaginable pain, a friendly face is around to try and relieve some of that anxiety, even if only temporarily. This is Cash, a 7-year-old golden retriever offering emotional support to families during this difficult time. The therapy dog has served in other tragedies as well, such as the Marjory Stoneman Douglas school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Microsoft Office is getting a big makeover. Microsoft announced the next version of Office for Windows will do away with bold toolbar colors. They'll be replaced with a neutral gray color. The company says that move will give the Office app a cleaner look that fits better with the Windows operating system. The makeover includes rounded corners and a design that's more in sync with the look of Windows 11. A woman's big league dream finally comes true after decades of waiting, and it's even inspiring some of baseball's biggest stars. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A dream come true on the baseball diamond, 60 years in the making. Gwen Goldman got to make good on a goal she started in 1961 when at 10 years old, she wrote the New York Yankees asking to be a Batgirl for the team. She was denied and told she'd feel, quote, out of place in the dugout. It's a letter she's kept all her life.
And I'm sitting there looking at it, and here's this 10-year-old girl who wrote it, and she's still inside of me.
But recently, Goldman's daughter reignited the request, reaching back out to the team who had a different answer this time around.
It would be my great honor for you to join us for our game on Monday, June 28th, versus to serve as our honorary Batgirl for the day.
And so, decades later, that little girl, now 70, took to the field in uniform. Her dream come true, inspiring even superstars like pitcher Garrett Cole.
I've had a dream to play for the Yankees, and I was able to fulfill it, so I can kind of connect with her in that regard.
Here's a dream come true that's more of a dream that's blue. Meet the Wisconsin woman who is the certified owner of the world's largest collection of Smurf stuff. Oh, it's a thing, all right. Gerda Scheuer's personal Smurf collection consists of more than 11,000 pieces.
Everything from binders to clocks and stamps and pencils.
She's been crafting the kooky collection since she was a kid and has been certified by Guinness as Smurf Collector Numero Uno on 2 separate occasions, a bragging right that has her anything but blue.
I mean, look at them. They're always smiling. What's not to be happy about?
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A small town in California has settled a lawsuit with the owner of the Flintstones house. The town of Hillsborough, a suburb of San Francisco, has called the colorful Flintstone house a public nuisance and took the owner to court 2 years ago. But the owner, retired publishing mogul Florence Fang, countersued to protect all her dinosaur sculptures and won in court. Under the deal, she agreed to apply for permits going forward, as well as getting approval on any other landscaping improvements. It's a victory in court that echoes what the sign in her yard says, yabba dabba doo. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening. Have a great night.